Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my webcam just for a brief introduction. Hey, everybody, I'm Elizabeth Ventura. I work for the Junior State of America. I run our school year programs department, and I also run our speakers program for our JSA summer programs. And I've been running these Fundraising Academy webinars for the past 6 or 7 years. So I'm excited to have you join us for this one. So just wanted to give a brief introduction, and I will tell you a little bit more about myself as we get going. So excited that you all are here, and hopefully you learn a lot about fundraising and the fundraising process. Let's give me 1 second. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. So a little bit about myself. So again, we've had these online fundraising webinars for the past 7 or 8 years as a way to provide a resource to our summer students to help make the fundraising process easier, to help it be more accessible, to help our students put together a real concrete plan and give them the tools that they need to go out and create their own fundraising campaigns and be successful and hopefully make it to a JSA summer program. We've seen it be successful year in and year out. And why I love being a presenter and running these webinars is because I was in your shoes at one point. So as a high school student, a history teacher gave me a brochure to a JSA summer program and said, I think this program would be really great for you. Talked it over with my parents, applied, got accepted for the JSA Stanford Summer School, was really excited, seemed like a great opportunity, and probably like all of you on this call, was really overwhelmed by the price. There was no way that my family, it was from a really small town in Northwest Indiana, and my parents weren't able to just write a check for the tuition that would allow me to attend. So we sat down as a family, we made a budget, and what my parents couldn't cover, I went out in my community and fundraised. And so I like to bring the tips that I learned back when I was a student and the resources that we've shared year over year with students who have been successful with their campaigns as well. So I know what it's like to be in your shoes, and hopefully you walk away with tonight feeling like we've equipped you with what you need to be able to do it and to do it successfully. So that's where I come in, and I'm here to help and to be a resource not only for you tonight, but throughout your fundraising process. Again, I'm so excited you're here. It's January still, so you've got plenty of time to put together a really successful fundraising campaign. It will take some work and some dedication, and we're going to get to all the nuts and bolts throughout tonight. But I want everybody to walk away feeling like they've got a good plan and a good way forward between now and the start of summer school. But just know that you've got plenty of time, and lots of other students, including myself, have done it before you, and it can be done. So with that, we will get started. So here's tonight's agenda. So the 3 areas that we're going to cover is a fundraising strategy. So that's going to include the who to ask. That's typically a big question that we get. So hopefully that will help provide some direction. We're going to talk about the fundraising tools and different things that you can use to make your campaign successful. And we're going to end tonight with how to put all of that together, how to put together the strategies and the tools into one successful fundraising campaign. So that's our agenda for tonight. So we're going to, before we jump into the strategy, we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of basic things. So I want you to think about the following questions just to yourself. It's a great way to kind of get started and get you thinking about JSA summer programs. So what summer program do you want to attend? Or maybe you've already been accepted to a JSA summer program, which is a great start. So what summer program do you want to attend? Why do you want to attend that program? What are you hoping to get out of this experience? And what are you excited about? So just take a minute and think about those things. It's going to help you formulate a way to talk to folks that you're going to approach for donations throughout this process. So what program are you attending? Why do you want to do this program? Why are you excited about it? What are you hoping to get out of it? And lastly, is your family on board? So have you talked to them yet? So I'm going to get you to start thinking about those. And then as we wrap up, hopefully we can come back to those 4 questions. So here is the list of our JSA summer programs and what we're offering. So our longer summer school sessions at those 4 campuses, and then our shorter summer institute series. So I'm going to release a poll. So if you could just let me know if you've already been accepted for one of these programs, and if not, which one you're most interested in. I think it will help me to gauge kind of where we're at. So which program have you been accepted for? Which one are you most interested in? So our JSA summer school at Georgetown, at Princeton, at Stanford, in Beijing, China, or JSA Institute. So if everybody could take the poll, just so we got a good sense of what campus everybody is looking to attend, that's great. So I'm going to close the poll. Looks like we have a lot of excited students to come to our program at Georgetown, which is awesome. Again, that's where the program that I am a staff member at. So lots of excitement, I know, from our students about being in Washington, D.C. and kind of being at the center of politics and meeting legislators. And so I can definitely understand why that's such a popular choice. So excited that seems to be where everybody's got interest. So thanks for taking the poll. Next, I want to have you think about, why are you excited about about a JSA program? What are you hoping to get? What are you wanting to walk away from a JSA summer school with? And so think about it for 30 more seconds or 15 more seconds. And then if you could type your answer in the questions box, that'd be great. I'd love for everybody to share what they're most excited about or what they're hoping to get out of a JSA summer program. So if everybody could just put their answer to that in the questions box, that would be great. Okay, Ariana said, I'm excited to go to Georgetown and get more experience. Great. Ariana, do you mean like political experience or academic? What kind of experience are you looking to get more of? Anybody else want to jump in? Again, what do you want to get out of a JSA summer program? Or what are you excited about? Well, political experience. Oh, great, because you want to be a lawyer. Great. I think that this is a great program, and I know we have a lot of alumni who have gone on to be lawyers. So I think that there's a lot of students in that same boat. Great. And the rest of you, feel free to let me know. These are some of the responses that we've gotten from students before, and hopefully something some things a lot of our students walk away from our program with. So taking an AP or honors level course, especially one that's taught from a college professor, I don't think that there's a lot of opportunities for high school students to have a college professor while they're high school students, and especially the courses that we offer at JSA summer programs. So I don't know of a lot of high schools. I know my high school didn't. I know in the high schools that I work with in this role don't offer classes like constitutional law or international relations. I think, subjects that are really intriguing and exciting to high school students, but that they a lot of times just don't have the opportunity to take. So I think that that's an exciting part of a JSA summer program. I think a great part is learning independence, kind of living in a college dorm, being on a college campus, using a college library, eating in the cafeteria, and just kind of having that pre-college experience. And especially for you all that are interested in Georgetown, being at Georgetown and kind of getting to see what that feels like. I'm sure a lot of you, are looking at that as maybe a college that you want to attend after you graduate high school. So this is a great opportunity to be able to do that. Uh, we hope all of our students walk away and hope people are excited about developing your public speaking skills. Our debate workshop is a component across all of our campuses. And so I think that this is a great program to walk away feeling like, yeah, I really did learn the art of debate. I really did increase my public speaking skills. becoming more aware of current events, the political process. I know this was a big selling feature for me as a high school student. I always wanted to talk about politics. I always wanted to talk about current events, but I felt like there weren't a lot of peers that had that same interest. Maybe I had a small group of peers, but not a wider audience that always wanted to be talking about what was in the news. And JSA gave me that opportunity, to be around 200 high school kids who were informed, who knew what was happening in the world, who could talk about international events like my high school friends back home couldn't. I think that that's a really fun and exciting part of being at a JSA summer program and on one of these college campuses. Interacting with politicians and leaders in their fields. Again, I run the speakers program at the Georgetown campus, and it's a really pillar of our program to bring our students up close and personal to folks in the political community. So legislators, members of the media, lobbyists, professors, people who have expertise in politics and kind of in the political arena, I think makes our program unique and one that our students really kind of walk away with that excitement having had that experience at our summer programs. And I think gaining confidence, both academically and socially, kind of walking away again, not just your debate skills, but just kind of being a more confident student and one who's kind of learned to be more independent in the process. And leadership skills, so how to become a more confident and capable leader. All, again, I think really important aspects to all of our JSA summer programs, and hopefully something that either you all have been thinking about or are now thinking about as you're embarking on attending this summer. And then we did have another answer from somebody. So a program that allows for great outreach and support. Yeah, and I definitely think that we have a staff and a system in place that helps support our students and their success at our program. So that's great. So again, things to be thinking about as you're starting the process of coming and what you hope to get out of it or what you can get out of it. So hopefully you're excited about all of those things that we just touched upon, because it's going to be that excitement and some of these program components that you want to convey to folks that you're asking to donate and to be part of your fundraising campaign. So thinking about what campus you want to be on, why you want to be on that campus, and what you're hoping to get out of this experience. That's all going to be built into what we call an elevator pitch. So if you got on the elevator with somebody at the 20th floor and you had the ride down to the lobby, what would you tell them about your JSA experience in your fundraising campaign to convince them to support you in this effort? So if you had 20 floors to ride with somebody, how could you condense that information in an exciting and compelling way so that they would get on board with supporting you as a donor? So putting all of those pieces together is going to be a great start for you to start approaching donors. We also want your families to be on board. I think that that's a really important aspect. So do your families know that you want to attend this program or that you've been accepted for this program? That's a great first question that you should ask yourselves. And if the answer is no, then you should talk to them because they need to know that this is something that you're thinking about and how can they support you. And everybody's family is different in the amount of support that they're going to be able to offer. It's important that they, again, know about the program, can support you. And I think it's really important that the family sit down and create a budget. So here's a sample one. So family needs to look at, okay, this is what the tuition is. This is what the cost of the program is. If you have to travel out to the campus, if you have to buy a plane ticket or a train ticket, or if you're going to drive, kind of what are the travel expenses? And then make sure that you add in some money for incidental spending. So if you want to get pizza or you want to buy t-shirts or you want to go off campus on Sunday and go to a museum, kind of what is that extra money that you might need while you're living on campus? So once you've got the expenses figured out, then what is on the resources side? So what can be contributed from your family, from a JSA scholarship that you might have received? What's money that you have saved up or money that you have or coming in at a job that you might have that you can contribute to the cost side, the expenses side? So once you guys have sat down with your families and figured that out, that will give you your total to raise or your fundraising goal. So we want to make sure that you're starting this process with a goal. What is it that I'm trying to raise? What do I need to get me to a JSA summer program this year? So this is a great place to start if you haven't already. Make sure you get your family on board early. And this is, again, one of the first steps that I took as a fundraising student myself, was to sit down with my family and say, okay, what can my parents contribute? And then where do we go from here? And they were really supportive in that process, and even helped me think of businesses that we can write letters to, and helped me approach their friends and our neighbors. So they were not only supportive in just figuring out the expenses, but also thinking of who we could approach during the fundraising process. So I'm really grateful even today for their support, and hopefully your families will be just as on board as mine were. So next, just want to kind of think about, the term donation versus investment. I think it's just a different way to think about this process. So people aren't just going to make a donation. They're really looking to make an investment in you as a student, in their community, likely. So they want to feel like they're supporting a cause, that they are, again, that they're making an investment versus a donation. So the more excitement that you bring, the more that you're able to convey what you want to get out of this program, the more it will help people see this as an investment in you and in this opportunity, and probably in your future, than just a donation. And so I think the more you can help folks feel that connection and feel that they're making an investment in you, the more successful your campaign will be. Okay, so that's just kind of the basics. It's a great place to kind of get us started thinking about our first initial steps, talking to our family, making sure we understand why we want to come to the program. And our next section, we're going to talk about, who are we going to ask? Who are the people in our networks that we're going to want to invest in us and in this opportunity? So they want to hear from you. These are people that you might know directly, or that people can open their networks and make an introduction to you. So we're going to identify, and we call this the onion method. So we kind of peel it back. If you think about an onion and it has layers, we kind of peel our onion back layer by layer. So we start at the center. These are the people you know the best, the most, the people that know you the most personally, that might be easiest for you to connect with. So that's your family and friends. And then each time we move out from that center, it might be people that you know or interact with less and less. So our next one is our local businesses, local community organizations, your school, and your political community. So these are kind of our 5 different layers of who our potential investors are going to be during this process. So we're going to start with the first one, kind of do a little bit in depth for each one of those 5 layers. So this one's easy, our family and friends. Who are they? Our family and friends. So your immediate family, your relatives, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, cousins, whoever you've got in the family, immediate family and extended relatives. Your friends, your family friends, your friends' families are great. So thinking about your teenage student network, okay, well, most of my network and the people I interact with are teenagers or high school students. They maybe don't have a lot of money to invest in my fundraising campaign, but if you approach their families, that is somebody who would fall into this category. Your neighbors, your parents' coworkers, your own coworkers, if you have a job. So again, these are people that know you, that it should be pretty easy for you to approach. This is why we recommend starting here, making your first asks of people in this layer of the onion. Start getting comfortable with your elevator pitch. Start talking to them like you would somebody that you don't know as well, so that you can start telling them who you are, what JSA Summer School is all about, why you're excited to go there. So when you start going to people that you don't know, you're comfortable with that elevator pitch. You're comfortable talking about yourself. You're comfortable asking for that investment, asking for that donation to your fundraising campaign. This is also a great way to kind of, starting with friends and family is a great way to start and get your campaign off to a quick start. Kind of get that early momentum going, and it can carry you through some of the more challenging pieces. So this is a great way to start. Again, these are people that know you, that want to invest in you because they see this as a great opportunity for you and want to help you. Our second layer of the onion are your local businesses. So I want you to think locally. Maybe you got a pen and paper. So maybe jot down 5 or 10 local businesses in your area that you can think of. So auto shops, your family's bank, your own family doctor, your family dentist. There's some out of the box ones on this list. I think mortuaries might seem a bit odd, but I think that they're establishments in most communities that don't get asked for a lot of donations. And so getting approached by students um, who are trying to attend a summer program like JSA is can be appealing to them, again, because they're not approached as much as maybe some of these other ones are. Again, these are businesses in your local communities that you might see on a regular basis, your family might go to, that have an investment to the area and the students and the families that live there. Again, I'm not saying that you can't go to larger businesses, larger fast food chains or Walmart or whatever, just large businesses. It's just that sometimes those donation dollars have to get allocated at a corporate level, and so it's hard to get a donation on a smaller, more localized level. But when you're dealing with local businesses where the owner's there, several days a week or knows the students or knows the community, those donations can be a lot easier than if you approach larger kind of chain stores or chain restaurants. Again, not saying it's not worth a try, you just might find it easier and more successful to approach some of these local businesses. Again, what you want to emphasize, who you are, what you're hoping to get out of this experience, be able to talk about that, and that you're a local student, right? You frequent these establishments, you know the community, and you want to better yourself as a student and be kind of a more engaged member of the community. So I think that these categories are great. A little pro tip from me, although I think they're becoming harder and harder to find, is to go through your yellow pages or even your yellow pages online. I think that's a great resource for identifying your local businesses because everything is categorized. So if you're looking for law firms in your area, they're all in one section. If you're looking for your local auto shops, they're all in one section. So I think it's a great way to start brainstorming, not think of just off the top of your head. I know that yellow pages are kind of antiquated, but if you can find one or if you can find a local one online, I think that they're a really great resource to help you brainstorm and get a list organized around local businesses. So our third layer of the onion is going to be your local community organizations. This is one of the groups of folks that we recommend talking to that I've seen our students have the most success with. So we're talking about Rotary clubs, Elks clubs, American Legions, your local Chamber of Commerce, the League of Women Voters. So kind of active community organizations in your areas. A lot of times what they do as a community organization aligns with what JSA tries to do in terms of having folks be civically active and civically engaged and wanting to kind of build a sense of community. So, going to them and talking about you wanting to attend a summer program that promotes civics and civic dialogue and being part of the political process, and that we're nonpartisan and we want all sides to come together and be able to talk to one another about issues. I think that's a really important feature when you're approaching these types of organizations. So make sure that you're emphasizing that when you talk to them and kind of how what we're doing at JSA can align with what they're trying to also do within the community. Again, great place to kind of brainstorm these organizations is your yellow pages or your local community pages. So these might be organizations that you haven't thought of or aren't really sure where they are in your community, but I can almost guarantee you that you can find some versions of these where you live. And again, I've seen students be really, really successful with this particular layer of folks. Again, and be willing to go in and talk to them. You might have to give a presentation to their board. Be willing to come in after you've attended a JSA summer program and give them information about the program or what you got out of it. I think being willing to connect with them at different levels is also a really helpful tip when you're going to these types of organizations. So our fourth group is your school community. So this includes your principal, your teachers, the PTA, the Parent Teacher Association, or if you've got some booster clubs. I think that those are really great folks to approach. When you're talking to your school's principal, there might be funds that are set aside for students to have summer opportunities or kind of take classes during the summer. I mean, JSA is a really academically challenging and rigorous program. It's not like you're spending your summer on a beach with a book. I mean, it's really an academically intense program. And so approaching your principal and seeing if there are funds that are available or if they have advice on how to get out in the community and do the fundraising, I think that letting your principal know that you're going to be attending the program and how they can support you is a really great approach to take in this process. And again, the sooner the better. Again, teachers are great during this process, not only to ask for an investment in you, but also to see if they have any advice for you in this process. So again, just emphasizing the academic nature, kind of what you want to get out of it academically. I think the debate workshop and the public speaking aspect is also a really great focus. We have teachers all the time that come back and tell us, this was a really great student before they went to JSA. They were motivated, they were bright, they were active in class. But once they came to a JSA summer program and then went back to class, they were even more confident in their skills and in their abilities. So it's kind of can be a transformation academically for our students. And I think that that's a really important point to emphasize with your principal, with your teachers, and with your PTAs. And our last group is your political community, and one of those has a little bit of overlap to the folks we just talked about. So your school board is a great place for you to go and talk about your fundraising campaign. Can your principal make an introduction to school board members? Can you get put on a school board meeting agenda to give a 5-minute presentation about yourself and about JSA Summer School and about your fundraising campaign? Can you network with the school board members? Just go up to each one of them, talk about your campaign, talk about what you're doing. Your presence at a school board meeting shows your investment in your school community. And so I think this is a great one. I think it's one that's probably underutilized, but you should really work with your principal or work with members of your school board to figure out how you can network and how you can get put on a school board meeting agenda to talk about JSA and to talk about your fundraising campaign. Because those folks can help you. Not just donate to your campaign, but they can also help open doors for you that you might not know are available. So this is one that I really want to emphasize. And again, it kind of overlaps between your school community and political community. But other folks in your political community are your mayor, your city council, kind of folks that are active in local government. Again, know local students, know the local school, and are invested in your community. I think your state legislator is a good one. Letting your member of Congress know, I think that JSA's got a reputation where members of Congress recognize us as a program and can say, yeah, JSA is a great program and we're excited that you plan to attend. Maybe they'll donate to you, maybe they won't. But I think even just letting them know that you have plans to attend is a great step in kind of promoting yourself and what it is that you're trying to do. And again, they might be able to open doors for you that we're not even thinking about or even covering. And your local Republican and Democratic clubs. Again, what's great about JSA is that we're all partisan. We're for students all across the political spectrum, left, right, center, students that aren't even sure where they fall on the political spectrum. We have a place for everyone. And I think that makes it easy to approach all kinds of different political leaning clubs and organizations. And again, what's great to emphasize with these folks is that we are a political organization. We want students to learn about issues. We want students to learn how to talk about difficult issues with their peers in civilized and respectful ways. That maybe we've lost some of that in today's society, but we want to be part of helping students to do that. This is also a great opportunity for you to show your political community your political passions and your political interest. Maybe it can lead to an internship. Maybe it can lead to working on somebody's campaign down the future. So not only thinking about how can this person or this office help me get to a JSA summer program, but how can this person help me in my future beyond that? So getting your name out there, learning how to promote yourself and promote what it is that you're trying to do is a great way to get on these folks' radar. So those are kind of our 5 layers. There's also, thinking about things that are happening in your communities. Are there community events? Are there activities that are going on? Are there other kind of days or ways that you can get your name out into the community? I know in mine, every spring in April, we did like a big rummage sale and everybody brought all their stuff and it was like a community-wide event. And I just set up a booth. I had a poster with myself and all kinds of stuff about JSA Summer School. And I stood there and I talked to people all day and tried to get donations when I was fundraising for JSA Summer School. So be thinking about different ways you can promote your campaign in the coming months. Maybe not just right now, but what's coming up in March, what's coming up in April and May, where you can be active and involved in promoting your fundraising campaign. So I'm going to pause there. So those are the who we've covered. Okay, well, who do I even ask? Where do I even start? How do I start compiling a list of folks to ask? Are there any questions? Again, the next section is going to be the tools. Okay, we know the who. Now we're going to talk about the how to. But are there any questions about the who? Those 5 different layers we just talked about. Again, if you have a question, I can't hear you, so feel free to type it in the question box or raise your hand icon and I can unmute you. Anybody have any questions? If not, we can move on. If something comes up while I'm talking, feel free to just type it in the question box and we can come back to it. Oh, Oren, great question. Well, I will send out, not the PowerPoint presentation itself, but I'll send out some recap notes. So you will have kind of some takeaways and some action items after this presentation. So yes, I'll circulate some notes tomorrow. That's a great question. I should have said that at the beginning. Thanks for that. Okay. Again, if you think of anything else, feel free to just type it in. So let's talk about the tools. Our first one is our JSA online fundraising page. This is our most important tool. This is step number 1. This is where you're all going to start. So raise your hand icon if you already have an online JSA fundraising page. Oh, we got one person. All right. Okay. Brianna, I'm so happy that you have one. Good for you. All the rest of you, this is like homework assignment number 1. As soon as you can, make sure that you log on and start your online fundraising page. This will come in, you'll utilize this resource all throughout your fundraising campaign. So the sooner that you start it, the more useful it will be. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to come back to one and show you kind of what a good sample looks like. As you're starting to create the page, there's a couple of pointers and things we want you to remember. So you want to make your pages as personal as possible. And why the fundraising page is so important and such a critical first step is because it offers folks that want to invest in you an easy and convenient way to do that. I mean, I just think it's kind of what people expect now in the days of GoFundMe and just being able to go online and donate to things. It's an easy way for folks to see what it is that you're trying to do, to read about you, to read about the program, and to kind of make that kind of snap determination that they want to invest in you. It also, like, they don't have to figure out, oh, who do I make a check out to? Where do I mail it? How do I make sure it goes to the person I'm trying to donate to? You take all of that away when you create an online fundraising page. All of the donations that you raise on the JSA platform go straight to your tuition. You don't have to do anything. All of the money raised goes toward your tuition. So I want to make sure that you're using JSA's fundraising platform so that it's easily applied and you don't even have to do anything but promote it and drive people to it. It's easy, it's convenient. Again, it helps to provide some legitimacy, and it integrates with social media. Again, it's a really important aspect that we're going to talk a little bit more about as we get through some of the other tips. And it's flexible. So here's the site, and I'll send this as a follow-up email as well, but it's jsa.org/summer/fundraise-2019. That's where you can start your page as soon as possible. And again, these are some tips that we want you to put to use. So the more personalized your page is, the more it's going to help people connect with you and want to make that investment. So tell your story. Where are you from? What are you involved in at the high school level? What kind of activities are you involved in? What kind of leadership activities or positions do you hold? Why do you want to come to JSA Summer School? Tell folks that are coming to your site why JSA, why this program, what's appealing, what's exciting. Um, Customize it with a photo of you. Again, I think that helps people to connect with whose story this is. And then share your fundraising page on your social media accounts. It's really simple. Again, we'll go to it at the end, but you can put it on Twitter, you can put it on Facebook, and you can drive people to it that way. It's also a great way to engage donors throughout during the follow-up. Once you create your fundraising page, again, we're going to talk about a little bit more in different ways to integrate it. It's not meant for you to create it and for it to live out in the ether of the internet, and you're just going to hope that somebody stumbles upon it and just donates $3,000 to you. It's meant for you to use as a tool to drive people to it. So all of the folks that we just talked about in those last 5 layers of the onion, your friends, your family, your neighbors, your teachers, your Elks Club, your Chamber of Commerce, your Rotary Club, your local auto shop, your bank, all of those people, you want to drive them to your fundraising site. It's not up to them to kind of find, it's up to you to promote it, to share it, to ask other people to share it, and to get it out there. Again, I know from personal experience that it can be a little bit intimidating, that maybe I don't want to share that I'm trying to fundraise. Maybe I'm a little bit embarrassed that my parents can't write a check for this program, but I can't be. I'm trying to raise money so that I can have this great opportunity, and I have to let people know about it. I have to let people know that they can support me in doing that. So the more that you can personalize your page and the more that you can promote it, the more successful of a fundraiser that you are going to be. So take that first step and make sure your fundraising page is 10 out of 10. And then here are some other tips during the creation. So make sure you put a goal on that page. We talked about your fundraising goal at the beginning. Make sure it's realistic. Make sure it's there for everyone to see. Again, you want to approach those friends and family first so that number starts to tick up. Wow, this person's goal is 3,000 and they've already raised 1,500. Like, they're halfway there. That's great. I'm going to make an investment. It shows a lot more effort and it shows a lot more excitement versus a little goal thermometer that's stuck at 0. So you want to make sure you get folks kind of moving on early in the campaign. Reach out again, we talked about this. Reach out to relatives and close family first. Get those first ones really moving, and that will generate momentum. It will generate excitement for you, and it'll really show folks that you're taking this campaign seriously and that you're really moving towards your goals. It's fun to set milestones. It's fun to kind of challenge yourself and even challenge folks that you're asking to donate. Like, hey, I'm trying to get my first $1,000 in 10 days, $100 a day. It's my $100 a day challenge. Can you help me? If your friends all donate $10 or $20, you'll write them a song, or you'll write them a poem, or you'll do something fun for them. So getting folks involved, even at those donation levels. And that's what you have to, once you have a goal, start breaking it down into smaller chunks, right? So if you've got a $3,000 goal, that might seem high and overwhelming. Like, I don't know anybody that has $3,000. I don't know who I'm going to ask for $3,000. Yeah, that's a tough question. But do you know 30 people that could donate $100? I think that my math is right on that. But, looking at it in chunks that are manageable for people that can give $25, $50, $100, that adds up quickly, and you'll get to your goal faster than you think that way than looking at it as one big chunk. So challenge yourself to break it up as on a timeline, or I'm going to get, 5 $20 donations today. It will help you kind of break that larger goal into smaller, more manageable pieces and maybe not feel so overwhelming. So have fun with it, kind of be creative, and then get your network involved in it as well. So those are some of our fundraising tips. So get your site going, get it going on social media, promote it to everybody that you know. You're also going to include your online fundraising link. Oh, can our page be edited? Yes, you can edit your page after you create it. I do recommend putting some effort in during the creation phase because if you're going to start driving people to it, you do want it to be professional and look finished. But you can create it, have somebody maybe proofread it or look at it, but you can make edits and changes to it once you create it. Yeah. Yes. So there's a question about checks and cash, and I am going to talk about that. I'll come back to that question. That's a great question. So once you've created your link and you're putting it out on social media and you're getting it out to all your networks and you're sending your friends and family emails about it or text messages about it or just kind of getting it out there, you also want to provide formal letters, request for donation letters to some of the folks that we talked about during the last section. So your local businesses or your community organizations, maybe your political organizations. You probably want to send them a formal letter and include in it your fundraising link. So if they're reading it and they're getting it and they want to make a donation, it's right there. You just drive them right to the site. And we have a template for the letters that I'm going to send you all tomorrow in a follow-up. So you don't have to necessarily create one from scratch, but you do want it to be business formatted, professional, want it to kind of talk about you and tell your story. And you want it to be addressed to the people at each one of those places that is probably going to make the decision on whether or not to make an investment in you. So, do you know who the CEO is or the president of the bank or the president of the Elks Club? So do some research. If you got to pick up the phone and make some calls and figure out who that might be, this is a good time to kind of be doing that research phase is what I call it. But it is good if you are thinking about who you're going to write letters to, also be thinking about who did those letters go to. So the online fundraising is one piece, the formal letters are another. So be researching, be thinking about, and I'll send the template so you don't have to create that from scratch. Once you've gotten the letter, it can be mailed. I get this question a lot. You can mail it. If you find the right person and you have their email address, you can email it to them. That might be a little bit faster and a little bit easier. Or if you're kind of around, looking at local businesses or kind of out and about in your community, you could also drop it off in person. It also might be a great way to kind of request an in-person meeting as you're dropping off the letter. But either way, whichever is easiest and most convenient for you, mailing, emailing, or dropping it off in person, I think it's fine. I think getting it out there and getting those requests out into your community is an important part of the process. So here's a couple of follow-ups. So after you've sent those letters, give folks, 4 or 5 business days to look it over. If you haven't heard from them, give them a call. It's not just about the sending of the letter or the email. Anybody can do that. Anybody can email a business and say, hey, I put together a fundraising campaign and I hope that you can make a donation to me. That's easy. It's the follow-up piece where you're going to make the connections and you're going to be more successful. So calling to follow up on that letter. Hey, I'm Elizabeth Ventura. I emailed, so-and-so a letter 4 or 5 days ago, and I just wanted to call and follow up and see if you'd have had a chance to review it. I'm happy to tell you more about me, tell you more about JSA summer programs, tell you more about why I want to go there. But I'd really like to follow up on that letter and see if you had any questions, and hopefully you're motivated to make an investment in me in this great opportunity. So that's kind of what you're going to say. You're going to be excited. You're going to be friendly. Don't try to say everything in one breath. Kind of take it slow. But making that personal connection, making that personal follow-up shows that you're motivated. And it shows that you are taking the time to go through this process. Again, are they willing to meet with you? That's even better than a phone call. Hey, I'd love to come in and tell you more about myself. Is there a time that would work? I think that that's a great way. I think that really resonates with members of local community organizations. Again, when we talked about the Elks Club or the American Legion, I think that those are groups that a lot of times those personal meetings mean a lot to. So offering that, I think, is a great follow-up as well. And just know along the way throughout this process, some folks are going to say no. It's just the way that it works. It's okay. It's okay. But it's a great follow-up to say, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you looking into this and hearing me out. Is there anything else that you can do for me in my fundraising campaign? Can you introduce me to some folks that you think could be able to help me? Can you donate supplies for a car wash that I'm having? Can you come to a bake sale that I'm having next weekend? So asking what follow-up might they be able to help you with, whether they make a donation or not. Even if they make a donation, that's great. Do they know other people? Can they send your link to other people that they might know or other people in their network? Um, so just thinking about what are other ways that folks can help besides just making a monetary donation. That's great too, and we definitely want that. But there might be other ways and folks that they could introduce you to help that as well. Again, don't try to say everything in one breath. Listen, answer questions. And my one piece of advice is just be excited. Just be excited about you, be excited about this opportunity. I think that that's one of the keys to being successful in your fundraising campaign. Again, if you can get a meeting, I think that's great. Make sure that you're dressed professionally. If you want materials, if you want brochures from the JSA office, you can follow up with me. I'm happy to send them to you. You could take them to meetings with you or drop them off at local businesses with your letter. I think that kind of helps them understand the program a little bit better. So I think that this is a great way to help people make that personal connection and want to make that investment in you. So we're okay, kind of recapping. We've got our online fundraising page made. We've got our letter. We're kind of researching different people to send it out to. We're, getting ready to send it. We're emailing it. We're figuring out where everything goes. While we're waiting to hear back from folks that we've sent our letters to, we're going to put out a press release about yourself. So this is something that goes in your local newspaper or your local news outlet. So maybe you've got like a school newsletter or like a parent newsletter that comes out from the school. And think about local papers or local publications in your area that print like kids that are on the honor roll or like what all the sports scores are, that like have a student of the week in your area. Those types of publications are where you want to submit a press release. I like to say that press releases are, you get a lot of bang for not a lot of buck, probably no buck. It probably doesn't cost you anything. So contact the education editor. You can just call their main line and kind of tell them what you're looking for, and they can direct you to who is in charge of those kinds of sections of the newspaper or the publication. But it's a great way for you to put out what you're doing. You've been accepted to this program. This is what you're hoping to get out of it. You've got a fundraising campaign that you've put together, and you'd love for the local community to come and support you. That's one of my favorite tips in terms of when you're talking about what you're doing. I'm a local student. I have this great opportunity, and I'm looking for the community around me to come and support me so that I can attend. I think that that's great language to use when you're making these kind of approaches. You can include your online fundraising page and include information about upcoming fundraising events that you might have. And here's why I think press releases is a great tool for you all to use. So JSA's had JSA summer programs for almost 80 years, something like that. There's a lot of JSA alumni across the country, coast to coast, everywhere you look. There's somebody who's been in JSA, went to JSA summer school, knows about JSA, kids went to JSA, whatever. If they pick up the local paper and see that a kid in their area is trying to go to the program, it can be really compelling. And I know if I read about a kid in my area that wanted to come to a JSA summer program, I would get on that kid's page and donate immediately. And I might never know there's a local student in my area that wants to go to a JSA summer program and that is trying to fundraise to go there, unless I pick it up and read it in my local paper. So you're really not even sure about who you might be connecting with when you put out a press release like this. So again, I'm going to send you a template so you don't have to start from scratch. There's a really great one in our fundraising guide, but I really encourage you, and don't just do it once. I mean, do it now, and then in a couple months from now, send another one. I mean, get another round going. You can update them on your fundraising progress. You can talk more about what you can expect from the summer school. You kind of have more details at that point. So do it now and do it again in a couple of months. But again, you get a lot of bang for little or very little investment. So that's one of my pro tips. And I'll send you the template. And then the fun stuff to plan is some fundraising events. So these are just kind of the classic, maybe things that you would think of: car washes, garage sales or yard sales. That's one of my favorites. Bake sales. Are there school events where you can do bake sales? Is there like after school clubs or after school sporting events where you can sell concessions? Kind of what are opportunities in your area for you to host a fundraising event? and I think these are so great because you can get your family on board, you can get your friends to come and help, getting supplies donated for a car wash or getting the local pizza shop to donate the pizzas. I think a potluck is a great one. So will the American Legion let you, use their space and you host a community potluck and everybody pays $10 and they bring a dish and maybe you host like a political discussion or you talk about the State of the Union address or you talk about the government shutdown. You kind of provide the, I guess, quote unquote, entertainment for the potluck and it kind of gives people, an insight into like your political interests and wanting to kind of be part of an organization in a summer program that is political, but it also is a fun way for the community to come together. So again, these are ways where whether the American Legion or whomever gives you a donation or they don't, do they have a space that you can use or do they have supplies that they could donate or food that they can donate? So be thinking about ways to incorporate these types of fundraising events. Again, I think they're a great way to get your family and friends on board to support you in these efforts. So I think that that's a great one. Okay, so those are kind of all of our tools. Again, we had a question. Some people might not want to donate to your online fundraising page. That's fine. They can send a check to our JSA office. They just need to make sure that your name is on it or there's a note with it so we know that it goes to you. But yes, we as an organization, we don't take cash. So don't have people send cash to us. It's best if somebody, so if you have a car wash and you raise $300, it's best if somebody, you or your parents take that cash and then just donate it to your online page or just mail it as a check to the office. But we don't want to handle cash in the office and folks, it's just not a good practice for people to be mailing cash. So just figure out the best way for you and your family to, if you do have events where cash donations are made, figure out the best way to handle those, either through your online fundraising page or through sending a check to the JSA office. That's a great question. Okay, any questions about the tools? So we've got the letters, we've got the press release, we've got the online fundraising page. Any questions about those? If not, we're going to pull it all together and talk about how to move forward. Okay, if you think of something, again, feel free to put it in the questions box. These are just some tips and some advice we've gotten from previous students. Gabe is a student who came to 2 summer schools in the same summer, as a matter of fact, and then our program at the Democratic National Convention in 2016. Again, he talks about how much success he had in getting small donations, $10, $20, and how much that can really add up quickly, and it's doable for most people. So I think that that's a great piece of advice. He also was really successful at using social media to talk about his campaign, to promote it, to keep people interested, to keep people coming back to see where he was in the campaign. So I think that that's a great tip. And then our friend Stephen Bradley, who came, I think, 3 or 4 summers, had some really great advice. And again, this is a student who raised money all 3 or 4 of these programs, and he kept his donors interested because he was great about saying thank you to them, about sending, he sent them a postcard when he was at Georgetown, kind of keeping him posted on what he was doing, talk to them afterwards. Like, he kept them interested, not just through the fundraising part, but through the program and through the next year that he would attend. So thanking your donors, keeping them posted, and letting them be part of the experience is also a great fundraising tip. So hopefully those, again, just pieces of advice from students who have been successful many times in the past. And these are just 2 of many, many, many students that we've had who have been successful fundraisers and who have attended our programs in the past. So here's our action plan. Again, step number 1, we're going to go to the website, we're going to start our fundraising page. If you have already got one, it's just one of you, go to your page and make sure it's good. It tells your story, it's got your picture, it's compelling, it's ready to drive the traffic. You're going to start to identify different contacts in each one of these groups. And I want to emphasize, if you want to be a successful fundraiser, you are going to have to tap in to most of these different layers of the onion. If you're just going to stick with friends and family and think maybe you can raise $3,000 that way, I haven't seen very successful fundraisers do it just through one source or one layer of that onion. So make sure, but it takes some breaking out of the comfort zone. I totally understand that. But our most successful fundraisers are ones that have been able to get their school community involved, their community organizations, their local businesses, and kind of utilized all of these different sources for folks to invest in them. So be thinking about and brainstorming different groups and different people in each one of these different layers. That's an important piece. If you don't know who to address a letter to or who to ask for on the phone, ask somebody. Just figure that piece out during your research phase. Get your letters written, make sure they're addressed to the right people, get them out. Again, mail, email, dropped off in person, doesn't matter. Make sure your fundraising page link is included in there. While you're waiting, get your press release out. Once your press release is out, you can post that on social media like, hey, check out, this article or this feature about me in the Virginian pilot. Like I was on a news story today. Use social media to even promote your press release. That will help generate some buzz about your fundraising campaign. Ask your friends and family to share your link with people that they know. Make sure that they're getting kind of introducing you to their networks. Make sure you say thank you. After you've got your letters out, make sure you're following up with a call, with a meeting request, and that you're doing that follow-up piece. That you're excited, that you've got that elevator pitch. You can talk about you can talk about JSA, you can talk about why you're excited and why you want to do this program, and why people should want to make the investment in you. If they can't support you, ask for what they can do to help you. So those are kind of our action items. Again, I'm going to send those out tomorrow so you can kind of check them off. A great thing to do now too, start creating a timeline for yourself. In February, I want to do this, this, and this. In March, I want to start moving into this group of people or these people that I hadn't really asked that much in February. In April, I want to do these 3 events. So be creating a timeline for yourself so you can carve out time each week to your fundraising campaign. One of the things it's hard to give you the tools and it's hard to teach you. But some of these things about your excitement level, about your creativity, they're going to propel you the furthest. And again, I know that it can be tough, and I know that it can be overwhelming and maybe even a little bit embarrassing or hard to start or hard to talk about yourself. But once you push past that and you can communicate with people about this, that's when you're going to see a return on your time and your effort. So keep that excitement level up. Be persistent, not rude, not pushy, but persistent. Make sure you're doing the follow-up. Make sure you're connecting with people. If you can think of an idea that we didn't cover here, go for it. What I did when I was doing this, and a piece of advice that I've given throughout the years is, if you want a career in politics or you follow politicians, they all have to be great fundraisers. They have to be out asking for people to invest in them and invest in their ideas and invest in their future. You're no different. What you're doing is developing a skill in fundraising that not a lot of high school students get the opportunity to develop at this age. So put yourself in the shoes of your favorite politician and go out there and get folks to invest in you and invest in this great opportunity. And you will see a return. I'm here to help you through that process. Again, I'm going to follow up with each of you tomorrow via email with some of these. If you get 3 or 4 weeks down the road and you've tried all of these things and it's not working for you, reach out to me. And we'll see what we can do to kind of tweak what's not working or figure out a different strategy or some different ways we can get the ball rolling. I'm here to be a resource. Again, there's lots of time, but it does take the time to put into this. But I'm here to make sure that you're as successful as you can be in this effort. So be thinking about that. Get your campaign started as soon as you can. And if you need help along the way, that's what I'm here for. And again, I'll follow up with my contact info tomorrow. So you'll have that along the way. So that's it for me. I'll stick around for any final questions. I did go a little bit over on time. And I also wanted to show you one of the fundraising pages. So if you've got a few extra minutes and you want to stick around, feel free to do that. So we've had some folks start them. This is actually our first fundraising academy so far this year. So I wanted to show this one. Got a great picture of himself there, looking very professional, very much like a great student there, very serious. And this student has raised $2,600. I think that that's a pretty impressive amount. I think he started his page about 6 weeks ago. So $2,600 in 6 weeks. And I wanted to point out the size of these donations. Because again, when I say, looking for donations that are $100 or $50 or these kind of manageable pieces, I mean it. So here's the student's donations: $50, $250, $25, $25, $100, $100, $200. So you can see that this isn't just one $2,600 donations. These are donations that have added up over time. I'm going to reach out to him tomorrow. I think that his bio could be a little bit more in depth, kind of tell us a little bit more about his background. But it looks like he's done a good job of reaching out to folks within his network and getting a quick start on his online fundraising campaign. So I think that that's a great example of a student who's out there doing it now and who has gotten off to a great start. So use that to propel you to make your own pages and to get them out there. Here's the social media links. You can just link them straight here to Facebook, to Twitter. Again, it's great to recognize people, to thank them, not only on your page, but use social media. Use Facebook to say, hey, I got a $500 donation from Union Bank today. Thank you, Union Bank. Or use Twitter and other social media outlets that you might use to also shout out donors or update folks on your fundraising campaign. This is really meant to kind of utilize with platforms that we know students are using, like Twitter and like Snapchat and other social media. So I'm going to be looking for all of your pages in the next week or so. So make sure that you spend some time putting those together and using the tips that we outlined. So that's it. That's it for me. Again, I'm here if you've got questions. Otherwise, good luck. I'll follow up tomorrow with the resources that we talked about. And I'm wishing you all the success in your fundraising endeavors throughout the next couple of months. And for those of you coming to Georgetown, can't wait to meet you. I'll be there. And again, good luck and have a great night, everybody.